Hello, good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you again to our live series of webinars with Strategy Up and talking about the opportunities and challenges of going digital in 2021. Today, I have with me a dear friend and as well a professional in the coffee shop business. And today, we're going to talk about the digital opportunity for coffee shops. So I want to welcome my guest, Omar Khartabil, who've been in this business for a while and he really understands the ins and outs. So Omar, I want to thank you for being with me here today. And I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience. Then we will start talking directly about the core of the topic.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark, for having me here. Appreciate you setting up this for me and look forward to it. Hopefully I can share some good advice with everyone who's watching us. So I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I have some experience to say. I have managed a coffee shop with my partner and my wife for almost 6 years. We initially started our business in 2011, Choco Café. Maybe some of you know this business, been to our shop probably, tried our offerings. In 2011, we decided to take that step to open a retail shop. It definitely wasn't an easy step because there was lots of pre-planning that was required, from location, from design, from equipment, hiring, training. So there's a lot of back-end work that was required before we decided to kind of open a retail shop. It's a big risk, but definitely it was worth it. So 2011, October, in fact, we opened our shop to the public and we, managed the business for almost 6 years. And during the 6 years, definitely we gained lots of experience and improved our, offerings and got to know more about the business, especially the coffee shop business, and how to run it and how to avoid certain mistakes and issues that could, make running a business much easier. And obviously, setting up a business wasn't an easy step. Definitely with the right mentoring, coaching, support, it's always possible. And again, during that time, it was an exploration phase for us. But again, with time, we became more comfortable with running the coffee shop business, which is, again, not a simple step, but it takes time to get used to it. It takes time to kind of perfect, doing your coffee, running the business, maintaining your customer satisfaction, and, all that intricate stuff that's required to maintain a coffee shop in its...
Yes. Of course, but also running as well a business for 6 years is not a short period. And I am sure that you are here to share your valuable experience with our audience and really to help them understand what it means to run a coffee shop, right?
For sure, it was probably a bit hard to compare when I started to what's happening right now, because with the pandemic, there's much more, I guess, things to think about, because it's becoming more competitive. It's harder. You need to satisfy the customer who's always worried about now more the health part of it, and the seamless process of buying a coffee and getting out of your getting the process done in a seamless process, because health is now becoming a very big issue, and you want to make your customers feel safe in your coffee shop. So there might be different tools that are required, which we never used at that time because there was no need for it, or there wasn't an urgent need. But now the COVID made us realize that digitizing our businesses, using digital tools, is an urgent need now to make things easier for our customers.
Of course. Thank you, Omar, for this great introduction and increasing our level of curiosity. So before I just dive into the topic, as always, I want to thank our sponsors and partners. We want to thank Agora Office Space, our platinum sponsor, where they are giving us their studio. And this is where we are broadcasting live every week from Bedford, Nova Scotia. And our strategic partner, which is the Chartered Institute of Marketing Management of Ontario, who are the experts in marketing, and I am a proud member of this organization. So having said this, Omar, what I want to do now is I want to dive directly into the topic, and I want to ask you a straightforward question, something that was in the news for a while, and it came back in the news. And we know that Starbucks decided to close 300 locations in Canada. So my question to you as an expert in the field, why you think they took such a decision and what it means as an impact on the local coffee shops in our market?
So definitely it was a surprise for me to read that, like they planned, I don't think they have closed yet 300, but the plan is to close 300 coffee locations in Canada, which is a very big hit, especially because certain communities may not have other than a Starbucks. In fact, there was one community which I saw that the only coffee shop available in the community was the Starbucks. So it was the location to meet and see your friends and get the community feeling. And they were very surprised to have that shop closed, and they couldn't convince Starbucks to stay open. I think one of the main reasons could be partially COVID, in fact, mostly COVID, but Starbucks is trying to change their way they offer coffee to their customers. They're trying to kind of make it more seamless, easy, order pickup rather than in-house in-house coffee shop experience, which is to me kind of weird, but I'm sure to them they have a bigger plan on how they want to roll out their new way of running the business. But whether it's a good thing.
Sorry, Amar, just to interject over here. And I remember when I saw this news like a few months ago, or even like around the last quarter of last year, I also wrote on our blog that Starbucks is an experience. And now they are trying to make only curbside pickup and just like orders, like place order online and come and pick them up. So you are really messing up with the whole raison d'etre, like why Starbucks is really existing, right? So
for sure, it makes lots of sense. And you know what? Even closing down shops, people may think, well, that's great because local coffee shops will get more customers. Maybe that's true, but again, it's funny. I read the other point of view on LinkedIn a few weeks ago. Is that in fact it's a local coffee shop owner? I think it's in Toronto. They said that they think that Starbucks kind of promotes unique drinks which local coffee shops cannot promote them. For instance, cold brew. When cold brew first came up, it was probably a concussion that local coffee shops came up with, but it's hard for them to market large scale to everyone because local coffee shops have a certain restrictions on how much they can spend on marketing and promotion. But once it picked up in Starbucks, it became more famous, so people were more aware of it. So that's kind of helped indirectly market the products for the local coffee shops as well. So it's a different point of view as well. So it could be a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So at some point, the small players, I would say, or the local players were really counting on or piggybacking on the big brands where they were promoting their innovative drinks, and then they were getting the flow into their stores because of that. So maybe actually this is a great discussion and a good segue to our core topic is that technology and innovation and digital solutions for coffee shops. So maybe now it is the right time for these local businesses to embrace the digital environment so that they can start promoting better their new innovative solutions or products rather than they were hoping that the big players would do this role over time. So what do you think about that?
For sure, definitely. You need to look at your customers really. What they need right now is more seamless process when they come to your coffee shop and before coming to your coffee shop, in fact, because now the new generation, they're social media savvy. I mean, even our generation, we're not that old, but we still use social media, right?
Yes,
so
of course.
But from what I've read and understood that the 30 age and less, they use the social media more than anyone else, right? So and they are so into it that if their coffee shop that they enjoy their coffee at is not available on the social media, not available out there promoting their product, promoting their business, using digital apps, using tools that can make it easier to pre-order your product, pre-order your coffee before you go to the shop and just pick it up and get going, because it's all about time. It's all about minimizing the wait, all that stuff, which is very important, because it reminds me of when I had my coffee shop, right? dealing with like a long line of customers, cash, credit, Visa, it becomes so confusing, and you don't want to lose the customer. You need that seamless process to help the customers, feel that they're, appreciated, but at the same time, don't feel like they're stuck and not able to get this order processed. So you have to think about your customer pain points, right? Especially nowadays during the COVID, health is becoming an issue. You want cashless transactions because everyone's worried about, using cash, because of the virus being transmitted between, hands. So what are your customer pain points you need to think about? They don't want to wait in long lines. They want to, to be close to everyone because of the pandemic. So they want something that's, a flip up a button or click off a button on their app. I'm here, I'm coming, I want my coffee, please have it ready. I'm there, pick it up and get going, right? So,
but what is really intriguing me actually is that coffee shops before the pandemic was actually a lifestyle, right? If I want to take if we go to the big brands like the Tim Hortons, the Starbucks, Second Cup, they were actually a meeting point, not only for people to just sit and have a discussion, but it was also a meeting point to do like major business deals as well, right? So now when we are with this pandemic where we are completely getting away from this location and being physically in this one spot, it's even changing the whole need for these coffee shops as well, right? So just my question now that's coming to my mind is that, do you think that the local coffee shops might have a way to create their own social network that could be maybe online or physical, just to keep this habit alive? Because if we continue like this, it will be completely gone.
For sure. I mean, like you said, the coffee shop is an environment. It's a community. It's where you meet people, you meet friends, family, do your business as well. And I remember that clearly because that's where people like to come and meet with each other, right? When I had my coffee shop, for sure, you don't want to isolate people from that experience because, it's something that you look forward to it. Now, if you just say, if you only use these tools just to isolate your customers from your own actual brick and mortar shop, I think that's a big loss for sure. But the smart coffee shop owner kind of still promotes in-house coffee, while at the same time promotes their digital presence by, maybe creating some special offers or contests online, which will create the link between them and the coffee shop, so they don't really detach themselves from the coffee shop. So I don't think digital tools will clearly remove you from the coffee shop experience, but it might, for the tech savvy or people who are kind of more worried about being inside a place where it's maybe not safe for them, but it could be just the experience that they don't look for. But I think it's just a matter of mentality of how we want to experience this coffee. Is it you want to experience this coffee on the go or with people in the coffee shop? So it's a matter of how the coffee shop owner kind of formulates their digital presence.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, there is lots of thinking or rethinking the business model, which needs to happen right now. And then actually, before diving into this, I want to launch a poll for all our viewers who are on Zoom. So please take your time about answering a few questions about your experience with coffee shops. Meanwhile, me and Omar, we're going to continue our discussion, and then we'll close the poll probably in the next 4 to 5 minutes. So Omar, one of the questions that are really coming to my mind is that we were just talking about rethinking the business model, and we're talking about the digital impact and the digital tools. So let us, in a way, try to do a checklist, right? What are the essential digital solutions or tools which you think are now necessary for any coffee shop? And then we will talk about what it means in terms of development, cost, management, and all this. But let's say, like, I have unlimited budget. This is a wishful thinking. I am doing like my shopping list. What are the things which are a must, like necessary for me as a coffee shop to have?
So obviously the point of sale system is the biggest and most important. It's more the hub of your business, because And which takes me back to my old POS system, which I had in my coffee shop. It was a simple standalone, with a drawer, a bit of computerized, but that's it. Didn't do anything other than, transact the coffee shop, do a transaction. That's it. But it wasn't a smart POS system. But now, if you want to because remember now they used to say cash is king, but to me right now data is king, because with all the data that you can get about your customers, it's very important. You can understand, their preferences, their favorite coffee, the time they drink their coffee, when they come, how much they buy. So you can kind of massage your social media based on that. But again, going back to your POS system, it's a very important part of your business to have a proper POS system. In a sense, when I say proper, it's scalable. You can connect it to your app, connect it to your Payless system, make your kind of whole coffee experience easy to manage. So POS is definitely an important aspect, and also having the proper app, digital app, to help your customers kind of buy and do their transactions seamlessly and without being without waiting for long, because it's about urgency right now. People want to get their coffee and get going, whether it's in-house or get going to a meeting somewhere else. But so the two important items, in my opinion, other than your coffee machine equipment, is your POS and finding the right app, because sometimes there are apps out there that request or require from the customer to input lots of information, can become very demanding or very unprofessional, or becomes very unfriendly. So these two are, I think, in my opinion, are very important. Plus, you need to think about, and that's not my experience, but about the security of the data that you're collecting, right? Because you're collecting data regardless, whether through the app or through your POS system. You're getting emails, names, all that stuff. It's all data that's very important, but has to be securely stored, right? So security of your POS and your app is very also important. So it's a holistic.
I totally agree with you. And actually, sometime around probably May or June, we're going to have a webinar about cybersecurity with one of the major, I would say, businesses who really understand this. I cannot yet disclose because we are just finalizing the content of the webinar, but definitely this is a great topic, Omar, which you are already mentioning. Now, to go back to the tools, I would personally add something that is extremely important. And as well, we had a session about it in January. It's about loyalty marketing.
Thank you. You can bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
The app, the post-term or the point of sale system, all this should be integrated into a very interesting and appealing loyalty marketing, right?
For sure. Because you know what? Again, looking back at where I was, it was a punch card. People still use punch cards or stamp cards, but they can get easily lost. Oh, I forgot mine. Oh, how do I stamp it? How do I do it? Becomes very, I guess, unprofessional, plus not manageable. But if you look, for instance, at Starbucks app, because I use Starbucks app once, it's very simple. Once you pay, you collect points. So you have to make it very easy to manage and easy to monitor, because you want to know how much rewards you have, right? So, but I like what Starbucks did really, I think a few months ago. Prior to that, they used to have to reload your card, and only through paying through the app, you can get points. To me, it didn't make sense, because what if I didn't reload the card? If I pay cash or if I pay credit, why don't I get some rewards at least? And they did that. They gave you less rewards, but you can still get rewards, which I love that.
Actually, this is why I don't use the Starbucks app. I am more a Tim Hortons guy, because I don't want to load money on the app and then have my cash stuck in their app until I start paying, right? Otherwise, I cannot cash it out easily.
For sure.
Whereas the Tim Hortons is very easy, like you scan the QR code and there you go. And then, many times, I don't count, honestly, how many times I go to Tim Hortons. And what is beautiful about loyalty marketing is what we call the delight moment. And the delight moment is when I get something for free, unexpected. Once I went there, and actually, I don't know why, my whole purchase was for free. It wasn't only
you got lucky.
Yeah, I was so lucky. And even the cashier said, what, today is your lucky day. You don't pay. I said, wow, it's like, and these are the delight moments which we really think, I really think are very important in a loyalty program, rather than, collecting points, and then sometimes it will take you 6 months to collect your 10 coffees, and then to get one free coffee that is worth $3. honestly, there is no much interest in it, right?
I agree. It depends on the I guess on the franchise or the business, how they again view this app being used. To me, unlike you, I don't like the Tim Hortons app. It's interesting. It's funny, right? So there you go, two different point of views. Because I think in Starbucks, once you have enough points, you can either upgrade your coffee, get a free coffee, or even depending on how much points you have, you can get a free sandwich. Plus, so you get to choose.
Yeah.
But in Tim Hortons, it's like, oh, you got a free donut, by the way. That's like, okay, I didn't want a free donut. I want to get something else. So they don't give you a choice. So it's it. So it depends on the customers, really, which is a good thing, right?
You know, I totally agree with you. It's all about, you know, actually, it's all about who is your customer as well. Either you go for simplicity, this is where, or simplifying the process, this is where Tim Hortons is, or where you go into a more complex added value, where you give more options to the customers, but this is where it gets more complicated, and then probably will have a lower adoption rate, right? And most probably, if you want to compare, probably Tim Hortons would have more adoption rate on their app or in the usage versus Starbucks because of complexity. Before we continue, I want to share the results of the poll.
Starbucks.
Okay? Yeah. So which coffee shop mobile app do you currently use? We have 40% of our respondents said that they use Starbucks, and 60% said none.
Wow.
So weird enough, no one is using Second Cup or Tim Hortons or others. The other question was, do you prefer to go to a local coffee shop or a franchise? 20% said local, 80% said both. No one said only a franchise, which is good. Yeah, at least people are diversifying their experience. The third question was about how many times do you go to a coffee shop per week? 20% said once, 20% twice, 40% 3 times, and actually one person said never. So, and then finally, the last question was about the payment method. How do you pay? Cash, actually 0%. No one responded as cash. Through the app, 40% and 100% are saying credit or debit cards. It's a very interesting result, right?
For sure. I mean, it's funny talking about mobile apps, because if you bring up Second Cup, I used to go to Second Cup, but you know what? Their app was a very primitive app. You only collected points, and once you have enough points, you get a free coffee. That's it. I don't think they were thinking hard about how to use their app. I think until recently, maybe a year ago or so, they've changed their app application, and you can kind of. So the app is a big, I think, in my opinion, the loyalty app is a very big, important aspect of your coffee business. But see, again, how much does it cost you to do an app, right? Or get an app? Maybe franchises can afford it, but again, now building apps are not that expensive. I can imagine, right? You know, with all the technologies available out there. So the loyalty app is very important.
Of course, it's becoming a key component of any retail business. So Omar, before we continue, we have a couple of questions, one coming on Facebook, one coming here on the chat. Let's start with the Facebook. So it's Abir from, actually Abir is a good friend as well. She's living in Abu Dhabi with her husband and kids. And she's asking, why did you close your shop if it was successful as we are describing?
Good question. Okay, the biggest mistake, and you shouldn't do that really, is we didn't work full time in our shop. I had a full-time job. I ran the coffee shop business. My wife was helping, but we had 3 kids, and the 4th kid came on the way, and the 4th kid was playing basically on the ground of the coffee shop. So we were overloaded really. So we didn't give our utmost attention to the business, and I think that's the biggest no-no when you run a business. You have to give it your utmost attention. I know it's not easy. I guess the only reason I had the full-time job, because when you start a new business, you need cash flow, and cash flow won't come from the first year when you have a new business, right? Yeah. So that's really the thing why we didn't continue, because we couldn't afford running the business at that time, because we were not fully, full attention was not given to the business. But if you give your full attention, I think it'd be the best, because you have to be there in front of the customers, with your employees, keeping up with things. It was very demanding. Like I was working maybe, I don't know, 16, 18 hours a day, and you couldn't maintain that. So I think the balance is required, plus the full attention. You have to be there to make sure the business is run properly.
As always, I say, when you want to run a business, you cannot have one foot in, one foot out, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
try to run it. Although, you know, I would assume if you were able to give full attention to this business, you would still be running it until today.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Right? Because you have the experience, you have the know-how, and you've been doing it, right? So
for sure, maybe in the future, you know, might be my next step. Who knows? But I miss it definitely. It was a great experience, wonderful. You know, just being in front of customers and doing what you're doing, really.
Yeah, very, very good. So we hope that we answered Avir's question. Now we have another question here on the chat from Nizar. He's asking.
Nizar is my buddy from grade 4, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh my God. That's good. That's good. So he's asking, you need to ask, why are people spending their money there and that way? For example, research has shown that Americans prefer Dunkin' Donuts, but at the same time, like going to Starbucks because of its experience. That is, Starbucks is selling the feeling that you are getting there and sitting there. I would guess convenience may well be more important than even quality of coffee.
I'm guessing he's saying Starbucks is not quality. Definitely convenience. You know what? Why is Tim Hortons very popular? Because it's convenient, right? You see it everywhere. Versus Second Cup, which I love Second Cup, but it's not convenient. Like you have to drive, you know, quite a bit to find Second Cup here in Bedford, at least in our city, right? So convenience is important, but again, the feeling or the environment or the experience is very important. I think Starbucks is very smart with doing the experience, giving that experience, customer experience. You know, hey, I'm at Starbucks, I'm drinking this. I even know the names. You know, the crazy names they have on their drinks. It's just how they promote this on their social media, and you know, they make it a big thing. Definitely. Like who would think Dunkin' Donuts is a coffee shop? They are moving into coffee shop business more than ever right
actually,
now, right?
I think more than 80% of their sales is coffee, more than donuts, actually.
It's crazy,
and this
right?
is why they changed to Dunkin'. They rebranded instead of Dunkin' Donuts. They just rebranded to Dunkin', right?
For sure.
And also you mentioned Second Cup, and I think last week there was a news that they sold for only $18 million, right?
14 million.
$14 million, but like very cheap for such a brand
cheap.
and such a legacy in the coffee business, right?
But that tells you about how bad their brand is really. It's unfortunate because it seems like they need to be revamped big time. But for sure, it was a big surprise here being sold for $14 million.
Yes, it was. It was really. So Omar, just to continue our discussion, let me just go through some information which you shared with me around some statistics around coffee, and let's use them as talking points and tell us a little bit. This is, of course, statistics about the US market. So just give us at least an indication, and then we'll try to translate it into our own market, the Canadian market.
It basically shows that due to COVID, what happened to the coffee shop market overall in the States, like they in-store sales went down by 11.5 billion. That's crazy numbers, like 11.5 billion loss of sales, or you know, the sales went down. But going to the point of Dunkin' and all that, look at the major brands. You know, Starbucks is up there, Dunkin' is kind of up there. But look at drive-through people. 2/3 of people now going to drive-through rather than in-house because of the pandemic, right? They don't want to be in the coffee shop, at least during the COVID outbreak, I guess. But maybe things are changing. But again, coffee delivery is picking up as well, right? So COVID has changed the way the customer wants to buy the coffee. More drive-through, more delivery. Delivery is very tricky, by the way, because how do you deliver coffee? But that's something that, you know, maybe you have to innovate it. That's a new way of innovation, right? So, but big time sales is down, and they don't expect it to recover until 2023, which is a long way for the coffee shop business to recover. You know, see things picking up and sales become, you know, going up after the pandemic. And if you scroll to the other one that I sent you for the UK, you can see the same thing, right?
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at that, like around £2 billion loss of sales, the market value went by 39% down. So again, the pandemic killed lots of businesses, especially maybe smaller businesses. As you can see, it says the market recovery, they might need 3 years pre-pandemic to to go back up to where the normal was a year ago. Coffee delivery subscription, interesting, is up. But the funniest thing is really, which I've came to know, is like people start to do their own coffee shops at home, coffee at home, right? So it's becoming more the norm.
Yes.
At the ease of my home, I can do coffee now. Why do I need to go to a coffee shop? That's becoming an issue right now, right? How do you?
Yeah, actually, at home I have like 3 different ways of doing my coffee. I have an espresso machine. I have a drip coffee, filtered coffee, and then I have what we call the Turkish Arabic coffee, right? Where you just have the very heavy coffee ground, and then you boil it. So at home we do 3 different types of coffee.
There you go.
Right?
So it's easy to make at home. You can invite friends, close friends. You can have the experience at home. Then why go to a coffee shop where you're not? While you worry about your health and safety. So that's another issue that the coffee shop owners have to think about, right?
Of course, of course. I just want to go back to this drive-through. I don't know. I think here in Nova Scotia we have a limitation for drive-through. There is a regulation that no new locations are allowed to have drive-through. So this is another challenge. Yes. And I know that Starbucks was trying to find a location, I think, on Quinpool Road here in Halifax, and they couldn't find a location with a drive-through.
Wow.
And this is one of the major issues that is preventing the growth of such business. And the regulation is basically to preserve environment because of this
idling, for sure,
idling in the engine, and then all the exhaust pollution. So this is why anyone that is already there is allowed to operate, but no one is allowed to build a new location with a drive-through.
For sure. I mean, it's that's where innovation is going to have to kick in, right? If no drive-throughs, maybe that's why Starbucks is going back or changing the way they deliver their coffee is by order and pickup. Maybe that's the safest, fastest way for them. And then you can go enjoy your coffee and with your friends, I don't know, somewhere else, right? So I'm sure there's but again, local coffee shop businesses, I mean, they need to think about, more innovative ways to lure their customers back into their coffee shops. And some of them are doing a good job because I follow a lot of small coffee shops online, and some of them, they're always on, active online. They keep you busy. They keep you reminded of, they remind you of their business, their offerings. So being active on social media is very critical nowadays because everyone's watching, and you need to keep the name in your mind, so you can attach yourself to this coffee shop.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Sure.
So just one more thing, Nizar is saying that in his opinion, we will not go back to the economy the way it was before COVID, and we need to keep abreast of how people now consume this experience. And I totally agree with him. We have another question on our Q&A. Someone with initials MH is saying that how do other franchises like McDonald's that moved into the coffee business may affect the current coffee-focused shop? Sorry, it's Michael. He's saying his name is
Michael Habib. That's another friend of mine from grade 4 as well. So
oh my God.
Yes.
So it seems that you were doing great coffee since grade 4.
Maybe. It's a very good question. It's funny because, again, through LinkedIn, there was a discussion about how McDonald's has excelled with their coffee offerings. I personally don't drink it. I used to drink it. It's not too bad, but again, it's about the experience. It's about marketing. Right, they're smart how they market it, and sometimes they have offers here, $1 coffee or even free coffee. Just come to a drive-through, pick up a free coffee, and you go. You don't have to make any order. So that's how they lure you into their coffee shop business. Plus, they offer now multiple offers: cappuccinos, frappes. So they're trying to get into that business, which is interesting because who would think McDonald's would be offering coffee, right? But again, if you went to McDonald's, you grab a burger. Then you grab a treat, then you grab a coffee, then you're stuck. They hook you, right? So they hook you a bit by bit. So definitely McDonald's is up there, scary enough.
Especially when they do their campaign, get a coffee for $1, right?
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes it's for free, Mark. They have a free campaign. Just go grab a coffee, which is also, good business for them. What does coffee cost? Nothing. But again, you go grab that free coffee and you get used to it, you get hooked to it, and you start buying it from there. Plus convenience, drive-throughs, McDonald's all over the place. So again, convenience plays a big role, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. So now that we discussed about the business model and we touched base a little bit about the the needs and the technology that is needed. I want to go back to this because I think this is the real focus of our discussion. So I wanted to go back and discuss. I am a small coffee shop. I didn't yet adopt technology for the just before COVID. I have POS, but probably I am not using it to its full extent. Probably I don't have an app because us as Strategy App and as a business, we develop apps for others and we develop apps for ourselves. They are not cheap. They are not cheap to develop. They are not cheap to maintain. So let us talk about what can we do this, right? Nizar is asking, it's point of sale POS, sorry.
Yeah, point of sale system.
Yeah, it's all the software where you can order the coffee and do the payments.
Yeah, it's your digital cash system where you can, connect, multiple devices to your printer, your loyalty app to it, take your information of your customers. It's basically the brain of the whole business, really.
So now to go back to this, so your opinion, how can we, because you are also you have Gamma Shift as a consulting firm, right, that is doing all this support. We are Strategy Hub as a consulting firm, we do the business consulting side. So in general, how can we guide the business owners, the single owner, the family business, the small business enterprise to start with, let's say, a small investment that is not scary, that is not very like a showstopper or a big barrier for them. So where do they start? How they can start?
You really have to do your homework. You have to do your research, whether on your own or team up with someone who knows the stuff, right? But you need to, because there's a lot of POS systems out there that you need to look at. Like, so some of them are the Cadillacs, some of them are just a simple POS system. But you need to think about scalability also. Like, you don't want to buy a POS system that doesn't do anything other than take orders or So you have to think about scalability and initial investment. Plus, you need to think about if there's any subscription fees, other fees that might be coming up with these POS systems and apps that you were looking for. But you have to take the first step. I know it's not an easy investment, especially for the smaller coffee shops. But you know what? By the time you start thinking about it, you might be left behind, because I'm sure others are starting to do that already by now, and some of them are already excelling in that field. But if you do not start working on your digital assets and upgrading your systems, I think it's going to hurt you more than anything else. So initial investment, you don't have to be very extravagant, big, and very humongous cost. But like I said, do your homework, start small. As long as you can scale it and make it bigger, step by step, I think it's the right time right now to do it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And personally, I know a couple of solutions here in Nova Scotia about a loyalty marketing program, and we spoke about it in January with one of our guests. So if anyone is interested to get to know more about this, please reach out to me and I will be able to connect you with the right people.
For sure.
Also, sorry, just to finish this idea.
Yeah.
Also, I know a couple of platforms that are offering digital loyalty cards, digital offers that are engaging offers with the customer. Like, they create engagement. They are not very static. Also, not very expensive. Like, for something around $50 or $100 a month, you can have already all this set up for you. So if also anyone is interested, please reach out to me and then we can connect you with the right people. We are here to help. We are here to connect people and to make sure that we help you in the right implementation and in the right strategy as well. Sorry, Amar, you wanted to say something. I just cut you off.
No, that's fine. Again, it's as long as you do your homework and research and reach out to the right people, you'll be fine, because there's so much out there that you don't want to be, I guess, confused, because you need to think about your customer first, right? How is it going to affect your customer? How easy is it to use, especially the app? You don't want an app that's very frustrating, then you lose the customer. Like, how easy to customize your drink, right? If you want to order a special drink, with oat milk and sprinkles on top, I don't know, because there's sophisticated customers right now, right? You're competing with Starbucks, right? Because they give you that option. So you need to think about all these intricacies that your customers are looking for. You don't want to make it too simple or too sophisticated, but you need to target, I guess, customize it based on your customer needs, and you know your customer. You should know your customers by now what they're looking for. Otherwise, you lose them to other competitors for sure.
100%. And we always say, you know, in doing any business, knowing your customer and starting from defining your target market, your segmentation, their needs, their behavior, their preferences is key. And I am sure from area to area, from even neighborhood to neighborhood, from maybe street to street, you might have a different need about the community. And then this is where you need to cater for this specific need to be successful. One more question, right, Omar? And actually, I am following you on your social media, and we have a couple of interaction between me and you on different topics. Once you did a post about location, right? And now my question is, if we are moving online and the location became only to pass by and pick up, is still location super important? Do I still have to be in a premium real estate location? Or with this pandemic, the cards are shuffled, the rules of the game have changed, and then location is not anymore that much important as it was before?
It's a tough question. I still think location is important, because remember, we were talking about second cup.
Yes.
Right? They're not everywhere. Location was very hard to find, or it's very hard to go get coffee from second cup. So location is important because regardless, I mean, if you're not out there in the face of your customers, whether it's, you know, through the social media or your location, it's out there, you know, wherever you go, it's available. I think location is very important because you still want the foot traffic, right, from the community that you're serving. Because if you're isolated in, I don't know, end of Nova Scotia, and you can't serve your customers. You can't just depend on your digital presence, because again, foot traffic is very important, and location is still, in my opinion, critical for your success of your business, no matter what.
Yeah. So also, you mean when we talk about location, it's not only where the geographical location is, but it's also the number of stores that you have under one brand?
Number of
because
stores?
you know, small businesses cannot afford to open.
For sure.
You know, look at yourself. Even when you were having one location, it was so tough, and I don't think that you were in any position to think that you want to open a second location. Maybe by now you would, but at that time you couldn't, right?
You're right, but definitely for local small shops, the location is also essential, because if you know who your customers are, you know who the customers you're going to be serving, you'll decide on the location based on that, because your customers kind of dictate where you are going to go. Because you're going to go to a place where, I guess, maybe, I don't know, families who drink tea. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to find out who are your customers and where are they located, whether it's downtown Halifax or, you know, suburbs of Bedford. So definitely it's still location, even if it's in one location, you're serving a community. Yes. You're attracting to that shop, right? So if you attract that community to your place, it will be a buzzing spot.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So technically, we are agreeing that no matter how the industry is being taken in different directions for the time being, the location is still important. They are still under a retail business, and retail street level is still very important in terms of location. Maybe things might change in the future with the adoption of technology, and if, God forbids, we have more shutdowns and closures because of more, you know, waves of COVID or the likes of COVID, we don't know what the future is hiding for us, then maybe going completely in a way virtual and being only having delivery or pickup, then you really don't care if you're going to street A or street B if you want to pick up, right? There is no more footfall, foot traffic into the equation, right?
For sure. And you know what, since I just want to refer back to loyalty, because I'm not sure if you've read recently, Tim Hortons, remember the roll up the rim?
Yes.
You know, very famous thing. Everyone waits for that. Roll up your coffee rim and see if you win.
Yeah.
It's canceled this year. No more roll up the rim cups anymore. But they're going, what? Digital. So what do? You buy your cup, you scan your rewards app, and you'll win regardless. They said there's no more try again option there. So you'll still win something, or at least get some rewards from. Wow. So they're moving the roll up the rim from actual coffee cups to digital app. That's just recently, I read it yesterday. So everyone's picking up on digital, right? It's the way to go. So it's just a matter of time that you have to really embrace this digital transformation.
I will tell you what I had as a feeling, not only from the coffee shop industries, but like all across industries and verticals in our market, is that at the beginning of the pandemic, very few of the businesses were ready to be on the digital, to ride the digital wave, right?
Sure.
And then the word digital started to be a buzzword, and then we saw all businesses going into digital. Like if they didn't have a website, they started having a website. If they never were on social media, they started being on social media. If they didn't have tools, they bought the tools. And then after all this chaos finished, now they are saying, okay, I have all this. What do I do with it?
What do I do?
So they don't have sometimes the internal know-how, the expertise, or enough training to use these tools.
For sure.
And then they don't even have a strategy about how to put this digital strategy in
which is scary.
For the next 3 to 5 years. And now you say, like, it's what like, you know what? I built a puzzle of 10,000 pieces, and I don't know how to build this puzzle, but I have all these elements.
And spent all that money, right? Not knowing if it's going to work as well for you, right? So definitely you need the right people to support you, right? Like you said, Mark,
exactly. For sure. And weird enough, or actually we are lucky enough that most of our current engagements with customers are about this, is that we're helping them to build a digital strategy and to put a digital implementation with it, because they already purchased, bought everything, but they don't know what to do with it. And I am sure in the coffee shop industry, this is what is happening right now, especially for the small players, because the Starbucks, the Tim Hortons, and everybody already had their systems maybe years ago.
Infrastructure, everything, right? For sure.
But the coffee shop that is down the street, that is owned by a single family or like a small family, they never thought about this. They never thought about a loyalty program or social marketing or
sure. But again, like we said, if you don't pivot, you're going to lose customers for sure.
Yes.
There's only so many limited customers who don't, I guess, appreciate digital tools that are out there, right? So definitely you need to pivot and start thinking about, your digital presence, your digital transformation. Again, it's not cheap, but it's something you have to think about and take the first step into it for sure. With the right, with the right approach, with the right help, for sure.
Okay, and I am sure you are positioned to help in this respect, right?
For sure, definitely.
This is where your expertise is residing.
For sure, definitely. It's funny because and again, I want to bring up this interesting fact that I found. There's a coffee shop in Australia that they sell this kind of gadget. They can insert it in your espresso machine, and it monitors every espresso shot you make, and it tracks the data, and it tells your barista end of the day how many good shots were done. Good shots in what sense? Because there's an extraction time.
Yes.
If you or go below it, the extraction of the espresso goes really bad. So it's funny, they draw a curve, a graph for you based on that, and then you can see if you're doing a good job or not. So people are going to that limit. So it's definitely picking up. And Australia is, if you know Australia, they are big on coffee shops.
Yes, that's true.
It's funny that I had an employee from Australia. They don't know brewed coffee. They only do espresso-based coffee. Brewed coffee does not exist in Australia.
Oh,
so they're very avid drinkers of espresso coffee. So interesting stuff.
Also what I saw, and if we're going to talk a little bit about innovation and how to bring innovation to your store, I saw it on social media, but I don't remember in which country it was. They brought a machine that is going to print on the foam any picture that you want. So you send pictures to the digital app, and then it prints in coffee, right, on the foam that you have of your cappuccino or whatever, and then you have like any picture. It could be your face, it could be what you want to send. And
it's fancy coffee.
And I think and I saw on social media the lineup that they had for people to go and ask for a personalized cup of the coffee, right? And this is, I think, how you can bring innovation to drive traffic into your store or into your location, right? It was really like impressive in terms of like imagination.
For sure, imagination, innovation, craziness, if you want to say it, but people love it. Why not? So you need to think outside of the box, definitely. But again, because if you don't, it's a tough market right now, for sure.
Yes, I totally agree. Omar, I think we are reaching towards the end of our session. We are just 10 minutes shy from our top of the hour. So now I am just launching another poll internally for our audience who are on Zoom about their satisfaction level about this session. Let's hope that we will get good scores, Omar. I don't know if it's a good job or not. And so
I tried.
Before, in order to wrap up, I want you to tell in like 2 or 3 minutes your final thought about where you think the industry is going, what you think that is going to happen with the coffee shops. And again, one of the major things is that if people need support, how they can reach out to you, what can you do for them?
For sure. I mean, the only reason I started up this business, Gamma Shift Consulting, is I want to help new business owners or coffee shop owners to learn from my mistakes and avoid them, right? Because I learned the hard way, and running a coffee shop business is definitely not an easy task because there's so much into it, from hiring, firing, of course, resources. Now it's into the digital stream. It's very big. There's a lot of things to think about and a lot of items to kind of do in your coffee shop. So I'm available on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Gamma Shift. Maybe you can just they can find me on there. I'm here to support and help them through their journey because it's not an easy journey, but it's enjoyable. It's fun to have your coffee shop business once you feel it and know that you're building customer base, building a loyalty. It's an excellent feeling for sure, right?
Yes.
But where the whole coffee shop industry is going, it can only get better because the more innovation happening, the better. I mean, and definitely, you need to think about your customers, what they want before before kind of trying to innovate in your offerings, because customers are the ones who dictate, in a sense, what they are enjoying or what they're looking for. And so you need to keep an eye on your customers, need to keep an eye on the new innovations, need to stay on top of your social media. Social media is the way to be, online presence. Make the customer process easy for them, right? Don't make it hard to order a coffee, to purchase a coffee. So there's a lot of insights and inside stuff that you need to learn about how to run a coffee shop, for sure. But it only can get better with all the digital presence that's happening out there. Technology is going to get cheaper down the road. Some of it is still cheap right now, so it's nothing that's prohibiting for you to not start to innovate. So take that step, reach out to me, or even to Mark, because Mark has lots of insights, and I appreciate his help as well, because he's helped throughout the whole process as well. So it only could get better, and keep doing what you're doing and serve your customers a coffee a day, every day, right?
I think this is the best feedback you can give is serve coffee every day. And this keeps the doctor away as well, like the apple?
I don't know, it keeps away heart attacks. I don't know, it's a new research, but
yeah.
It keeps me going, for sure.
Very good. Omar, I want to thank you so much for your time. I think it was a great discussion. I think
Thank you very much.
Lots of very interesting topics and put them on the table. And it was like more food for thought. I don't think that we will be able to resolve an industry problem or challenge in 1 hour over a webinar, but at least you made us think. You made us rethink the business model, understand how digital solutions and adopting technology could help a coffee shop or any retail business, but today our experience in coffee shops. So I want to really thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I know how valuable is your time, how busy you are as well.
You as well, thank you.
So also I want to thank all our audience on Zoom and on Facebook who followed us through the whole webinar. I want just to remind you that we are live every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Atlantic time or 11 a.m. Eastern time. Every week we have a guest. Every week we're going to talk about a completely different topic, but it's all about opportunities and challenges of going digital in 2021. So if you want to follow our other upcoming webinars, please go to our Facebook page, Strategy Up, or to our website, www.mystrategyapp.com, and you will find there all the information. You can register or even watch again the previous sessions. So Omar, I want to really thank you. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much.
And
Appreciate
with this,
the
we're going
opportunity.
to end the session today.
Thank you, Mark.
And have a great day, everyone.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks.